Oh man, I should have been recording from the beginning. Hey guys, so we've got an amazing guest here, Pedro Ampuero. You may know him on YouTube with his stag culture videos. He's done so many things. He's literally traveled the world hunting. He loves using his bow. He also goes out with his rifle. He involves his family. There's so many things about Pedro that just really drew me to his YouTube channel. And then I guess by luck and happenstance, we happened to start chatting on Instagram, and now he's trying to get me out to Spain to hunt red stag. So, but we'll get
It's
into
my
that.
fault. No, it's my fault.
It's totally your fault now. So Pedro, who are you? Introduce yourself a little bit to the audience.
Yeah, so thank God you're the first guy that pronounced Pedro properly from America, which you should be pretty proud. But so I'm 35, live and based in Spain. Used to be a mechanical engineer, but now I'm working for Cuyu, like managing the European side of Cuyu. And at the same time, with my wife, we have like a video production company, and we do a lot of videos and YouTube films and all that all over the world. So
That's amazing.
I think, yeah, I was able to quit my engineering job for a way more fun thing to do. So we get to spend a lot of days in the field. So we are super, super lucky.
And so you still get to tinker with a bunch of stuff, right? With your bow, your rifle, getting everything dialed in. It's just a different kind of tinkering.
Yeah, my it drives my wife crazy because there is gear always all over. I just clean I told you I clean my table just for you.
I just built a bunch of arrows on Sunday. You know, my wife's like, "What are you doing? You just built some." I'm like, "I know, but I'm messing with something." Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. No, but so Pedro, well, the reason, and a lot of people don't realize this, is funny, probably because they look at me and not saying that but in general, people don't realize I'm fluent in Spanish. I lived in Mexico for 2 years. And so any of the audience out there that needs a translator, I'd be more than happy to help, in exchange for going on hunts with you. No, but, but that was another thing that drew me to your channel as well, is I loved being able to hear the hunting experience in Spanish, because you don't get to hear that a lot. There's not a lot of, people out there that put high quality production out there like you guys do and speak Spanish. So you do great. You put subtitles and everything. But I love hearing it from you guys, you with your dad, with your family, the excitement that comes out. There's something different about, and I'm blessed to be able to know 2 languages. And I'm sure you feel the same way, because there's some things you can express in Spanish that just don't translate. And then vice versa. There's some things in English that you can express that just don't translate to Spanish. I learned that really fast when I was down in Mexico. There was funny things like saying "what in the world" or "holy cow," like that. Those don't directly translate, you know. And so I got a lot of laughs when I would try and, Santa Vaca, like I'd say things like that, and they're like, "What are you?" They're like, "What are you talking about?" But no, it's something you're so pure with your content. And I recommend anyone out there listening to go check out some of your hunts, even if you don't speak Spanish. You put a good amount of subtitles there.
Yeah, we have actually like 2 channels. One is just speaking only in Spanish, and the other one is in English, because at the end, the type of hunts and the audience you get in English, I get a lot of complaints from the Spanish community. It's like, why you're talking in English all the time if you are from Spain? It's like, yeah, I don't know, we are working for international brands, and we need to do it in English. But I agree, like to be able to speak different languages as soon as you start traveling. Like when you travel to some of the destinations and you cannot talk the native language, it's like you are missing out, because there's so many things you want to ask the guide, so many things that you want to, but the communication is not possible, and it's just frustrating. So I think the more languages you can speak, the better.
Exactly. But so that's another thing too, that you involve your family. Your wife is into hunting. Your dad obviously was a big part in your life. And I love that from my perspective, seeing how your dad has influenced you, and now you're giving back to him as well, taking him with you on some of these adventures. That's something that I can only dream to do one day. My dad's not into hunting, but I hope to do that with my kids and change my generations that come after me, because I want that to be part of their life. If anything, to just go out and experience some of the beautiful places that we get to go as hunters that people never go, because there's not a solid trail. There's not a known path. We get to go out there and experience. I have yet to experience a roar, but hearing elk bugle, or, seeing deer walk 10 yards from you, things like that, just, you can't get that anywhere else until you get out there, even if you're not into hunting and actually tagging out on an animal.
No, and I think like the connections you make with the people you hunt with, it's hard to make them in anything anywhere else, Like, so I was lucky that my dad, he's a huge hunter. My grandfather wasn't, so he started like later on his life, like when he was 18 or 20. So there was a hunter inside him, and I have been hunting with him since I was 5. My wife wasn't a huntress at all, so no connection at all. But at the end, she decided to join the enemy to spend more time with me, and now she loves hunting. And we are trying to teach our son to like hunting, and I have already, he's 5 only, but I have taken him on a couple of hunts, and it's super cool to hunt with your family. Like, also, like, I think some of the hunting that I have done a lot, there is not that much mystery anymore on those hunts, but to be able to see the feelings and someone learning and the process of my wife, of my son, or whatever, I think it's super, super addicting.
Yeah,
So.
No, for sure. And again, I'll keep going back to this, because there's a lot of people out there that don't seem to include the genuine nature of the feeling of missing when you miss, or, things along those lines. I have something distinctly in my mind. I don't remember the name of the video, but you were the cameraman and your wife was the one hunting, and she missed. I want to say you were going after red stag, but either way, that the look of disappointment that so many of us hunters know and feel. I love that you're so genuine with that. And then vice versa, when she did tag out, the look of excitement and all the emotions that, did I really hit him well? Did I, all of those things that go through your mind and are expressed on your face. I just love that you guys are so expressive in your videos. You don't hold back. You let people see the raw emotion that you're going through. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think there's one special one that my wife, after trying very hard for shooting an ibex with a bow, we got close to a couple of ibex fighting at 25 yards. So the ibex are just like standing up 25 yards, like easy shot, but like a lot of actions. Both ibex were moving, hitting heads together. So she will draw back, and I'm like, no, wait, because she will stand up in 2 legs, boom, hit each other. Like, so super stressful. And she ended up missing the ibex completely. So, and she started crying, and a lot of people is like, no, she's crying because she missed and she's not happy about it. And it's like, she was crying because all the adrenaline and all the emotions she had inside her. And I think that there is many sports, and I don't think there is any other sport that can bring an amateur level person those emotions. I guess that if you're playing the World Cup final and you have a penalty or whatever in the World Cup final, you get those emotions. But as an amateur level or whatever, like, no, there is not that many sports that make you cry. I mean, you may ski down a path and you have a lot of fun. It's like, oh, that was super fun, but not to break in tears. It's like, that was amazing. So,
yeah, exactly. No, I definitely agree with that. There's so much work that goes into it. If you're hunting with a bow, getting your bow tuned right to your, to your arrow setup and everything, to your draw length, and then, not having level ground when you go to shoot, like all of those things that you've worked on. And then to have that miss, it's not just the miss, it's everything that has built up to that moment. And then even the incredible, like what you were saying with that fighting scene with the ibex. I mean, that in and of itself is an awesome experience to just have, in your life. And so all of those emotions, I could definitely see that would be something people don't understand if they don't go out and hunt.
And the bad part about hunting is that every opportunity that you get, you're never going to get it back. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if I could go back a little bit, it's just like, no, it's never going to happen again. you may get a new opportunity or may not, but that's never gonna, you're never gonna have a second chance. So it's not like, I don't know. I think it's pretty special, and you need to learn to love that frustration, because it can be, especially with the bow at the beginning, it can be super frustrating. So
No, definitely. Definitely. So let's start from the beginning with your story a little bit here. You said your dad kind of changed the family tree and started hunting. So when did you start hunting? How old were you?
5. So I don't have memories, I think, of myself not being a hunter. So, but out of we are 4 brothers and sisters, so I'm the only one hunting. But I don't know, like my dad tried with everyone. I'm number 3. I was patient enough to spend time with him, and since then he has taken me all over the world. So I have been super happy, because he has allowed me to travel to some places that I would have never been able to travel. So,
Yeah.
and he's
Oh, exactly.
73 now, and he's still hunting hard. So
And he looks like he's
I'm,
in good shape for someone who's 73.
yeah, no, like he's in good shape, and I think one of the things that why I'm a huge fan of my dad is because he still enjoys all types of hunting. So like 2 days ago we were hunting roe deer females, and to hunt roe deer females for a day he did 4 hours driving. So like
Wow.
2 hour drive back and
Yeah.
forth just for
Yeah.
hunting a roe deer doe, which most people is like, after hunting all over the world and amazing trophies or whatever, to still have the passion to, okay, let's go hunting roe deer. So I
It's
think
amazing.
I would love to
No,
be that way in a bunch of years. So
yeah. Yeah, exactly. About 40 years from now, right? Can you imagine that?
yeah,
Like 40 years, that's more than you've been alive. More
yeah.
years than you've already been alive, and you've already had so many great experiences. Imagine what the next 40 years are going to bring. That's crazy. So you started when you were about 5. You don't necessarily remember that. What's your first memory that really stands out as a young man that made you want to say, "Hey, I'm gonna keep doing this. I'm not just gonna stop when I move out of the house. This is what I want to do forever."
I have plenty. I mean, I have, even with 5 years old, I can remember like the first roebuck that we shot and the tracking of the blood and all that. So I really remember that. And then I started going with my dad also, like kind of with the rifle. But when I was 14, I started hunting with the shotgun. And I think that was a super cool school, because I could hunt by my own with a shotgun and a slug. So the shooting distance was 40, 50 meters, and that's when I think I got hooked to hunting like close distances. And a year and a half later, I discovered a bow, and I was just like, bow hunting is just, this is it. I have found the thing that I really like. So,
Yeah.
and I hunt with
Oh,
everything. Like, I mean, I hunt with the rifle, with the bow, with shotgun, with everything. But if I have to choose, I think the bow is just, I don't know, it's special.
yeah. No, exactly. I think there's a lot of, there's some people that have talked about it. I've heard, I want to say Joe Rogan has had some people on that they research the human mind, and some things that are kind of tucked away from our ancestors, and something about a bow, whether it be a recurve, a long bow, or a compound bow, there's something about watching the flight of the arrow that is ingrained in us that we just enjoy so much naturally. It gives us that dopamine hit, and at the same time, it's something that keeps us coming back. Even when we miss, even when we're frustrated, we can't get our bow dialed in right or whatever it may be. We always come back to it for some reason. And I can agree with you on that. There's something that just is special about bow hunting. And
And
then
one
the
of the
close
things,
encounters.
yeah, I like the most is the silence. Because with the rifle, when you press the trigger,
Hmm.
like you break the whole moment and the whole thing of like the birds shut down, the animals run away, like you disturb the whole place. And with the bow it's different. You shoot an animal and no one knows still you are there. And I think that's super special.
Yep.
So
No, for sure. Yeah, I guess that's a good way of putting it. I'd never thought of it that way before, but the silence aspect of it, not having to worry about blowing your eardrums out, you know, that's being able to enjoy everything from the moment the arrow goes off, watching it fly. And then there's sometimes when you have a little bit longer shot, you know, those 60, 70-yard shots, that it feels like the arrow's in the air forever.
Forever.
Right? And you're like, come on. But it's just, it's amazing. So, and you've been to some great places. Something that you've done recently, you went to, what was the place that they were dropping you off with boats and you were hunting, caribou?
So this year we have been in Kyrgyzstan. That was the latest trip. That was in trying to hunt Marco Polo with a bow, which was a grind of a bow hunt.
I can imagine.
We spent 20 hunting days, so that's a long freaking time over there. I lost, I think, 18 pounds or something.
Oh man.
And it was a really, really tough hunt. And the one with the boats, we were this summer in Greenland hunting caribou, which we had a blast because it was a group of 8 friends, full camp, only bows. We shot a bunch of caribou, and we were hunting 2 with 1, 3 hunters with 1 guide. So it was a lot of fun because it was not just only your opportunities, but to be able to share with other people their success and their stories. It was like a super, super fun trip.
Yeah, no, for sure. It looked like a lot of fun. And then there was one day you were with Remy Warren, and he was using a mouth tab, right?
Yeah. He makes things. He makes hard things look easy, but like he's an awesome dude. Like it was the first time hunting with him, and I told him like you are way better in person than on the videos, because on the videos he's more serious than in person. But he's like, we need to hunt more together. I need to show people how awesome you are. You know, like because he's super fun.
You bring out
dude.
the jokester in people. You bring out
but he's a super cool guy. I mean, the whole team, because he was Remy Warren, Adam Foss that I hunted with him before, that he's from Canada. He's an amazing photographer with his wife, with Frankie. Cole Kramer, he's a guide in Alaska, in Kodiak. Justin Lee, that he's one of the best spear fishermen in the world. Who else was there?
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So
Mo Newman, which is a fisherman, yes, so I don't miss anyone. Mo Newman and Joe, who is one of the guys that works for Yeti. So super wide range of people and from different parts of the world. So it was super, super cool.
Do you have with what you're doing, all your traveling, all the places you've been, do you have like a list of places, or is it kind of opportunities come up and you take them? Do you have an end goal of like how many places you want to visit? Like how does that work? How do you plan this all out?
No, I don't have any plans. Like I think I like everything. So I'm not like I love the mountains, but I also love forest hunting and bow rifles. So there is so many opportunities out there that it's more like every year is like where I have not been or what cool experience I want to do. So right now we are actually planning the year, and it's like, I don't know, like I would love to go to Sweden and try to hunt a moose with a barking dog, because it's different. I want to know how they use the dog, how they hunt with that dog, and how they stop the moose, and so I'm more than a species oriented person, more like, okay, let's find an adventure, or let's find something that can be different and that I can have fun. But we always end up going for ibex in the mountains because that's always fun. So yeah. So, but I don't have like a list, and I don't know. It's not my thing.
So, and that's really cool to hear. So you basically just say, hey, I haven't been to this place. I'm going to go Google, whatever I can hunt there. Basically what my wife asked me, what are you hunting there? Why do you want to go there? So that pretty much what it comes down to.
No, and since we are talking so much with people. We go to all the hunting shows, and there is too many bad influences in the hunting shows. Like, we don't do something in Zambia and we go on a boat, and it's like, fuck, that sounds fantastic. And actually every year I have way too many things that I can do. So trying to pick the ones that I can make it this year or whatever, postpone it to next year, but there is always things in the middle that come up. So yeah. I think
that's where you learned it from then, because that's what you've been saying to me. Oh yeah, we can make that happen. Come on out. So those bad influences. Now you're one of them. Yeah.
That's why I'm never at home now, because I always like, what do you think? I mean, and suddenly like my wife is like, "You're going again?" He's like, "Sorry, it was I don't know." I say I was in and that's what that we were talking before you recorded. That was what happened with Brian. He's like, "What are you doing in 2 weeks?" Like, nothing. Do you want to come black bear hunting in the USA? It's just, why not? Sounds awesome. Let's go.
You didn't know what you signed up for there, did you? So for those that haven't gone and watched that film, Brian does a really good job too of putting out these films and getting things put together that way. But I love the behind the scenes stuff too, because they seem to work really well together. Brian seems to be the boisterous, competitive, kind of in your face kind of guy. And then Ryan is just content with like hanging out and getting things like he's got it. He's the slow and steady guy. That's like, he's going to complete the task. And Brian's that freaking hare that just is running all over the place, trying to get things done. And that I love they're kind of that yin and yang, but throwing you into the mix, I thought it was really fun to watch. So you said it was like 2 weeks notice. What's the elevation difference between where you hunt normally in Spain and where you were out with these guys? Cause I know they go to some pretty rugged areas.
Yeah. So I'm basically at sea level. So there is a big difference in height, but nothing like, I think more in places like Kyrgyzstan that you are hunting at 4,000 meters. I don't know how much that is in feet, but
about 12. There's about 12,000.
13,000, I think. Yeah, 12 or 13,000. Then you feel it. Mm-hmm. But gotcha. on the States, I mean, it was a big difference, but I didn't notice it that bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. And then you guys had some good success on that hunt. Well, it was probably different because you don't hunt a lot of predators. Was this your first bear hunt?
Properly bear hunt, yes. I shot with a bow a bear in Montana, like long time ago on public land. I went for elk and just got to see one black bear. But this was like the first real black bear hunt where we were glassing for black bears, judging black bears. So I actually learned a lot and gained a lot of appreciation for the black bird, which I didn't have, to be honest.
Gotcha. Yeah, they're definitely an interesting creature. I'll be going on my first black bear hunt this spring, so I'm really excited about that. So you've come over to the States multiple times. What would be your favorite animal to hunt here in the States?
I mean, if I will have to say, it would be the sheep, but since it's something that is not very realistic, I would say elk probably. Like, I will go elk hunting, I think, every September, but it's the same time as the roar here in Spain. So I love red stag hunting too. But I think like the hunts that you do, like you are calling animals in, and that interaction between animal and you and calling and trying to think what they're thinking and all that, it makes things way more exciting. And when you have an elk bugle or like a red stag roaring at 40 meters between the trees and you cannot still see it and all that, I think you cannot beat that. I think it's amazing. So
yeah, no, for sure. So sheep hunting, what is it that attracts you about sheep? And then we'll get back to elk and red stag, because that's definitely something. It's funny. I've got a vision board right here by my desk, and up there I've got elk and red stag because those are my top two animals, and for that reason, for the interaction. But we'll get to that in a minute. What attracts you about sheep so much that you'd be interested in that kind of hunt?
The places they live. So I have only hunted in North America sheep once, and it was in Norwest territories, and I think it was probably the best hunt I have ever done because of where they live and how much terrain you have. And like it's like, where are we going? And the guy has never been there, so you're like, okay, why we don't go there? And the backpacking thing of being able to have everything in your pack and moving forward and not having to look back and going back to the same camp every day and just discovering new country, living out of the land. I think that's super. I mean, I would love to have more places in Spain that are wild enough to do that, because it's like super special. Like the connection, it's and the animals are just like they are beautiful. So they are hard to hunt, hard to trick. So the terrain is not easy because everything is open. So that's why I probably like if I will have to choose any hunt from the world, it will be bow hunting mountain game, because it's super tough. The places are amazing, and you get to spend enough time there to really get connected to the place you're hunting on. So,
Yeah, no, for sure. And then you know, there's nothing like getting up on a mountain peak and being able to just look out at all that terrain, all that area, and just soak it in, even if there isn't anything immediately there.
And then you look to your hand and you have a bow and you're like, "Fuck, I'm stupid. What the hell I'm doing here?"
Exactly.
I don't know the amount of hunts that I get on, and it's like, "Fuck, Pedro, you're fucking retarded. I don't know why you are here." And just like,
exactly. It's like, man,
you should have stopped watching YouTube.
Yeah. Why am I making YouTube videos? Yeah. That is awesome. No, it's so true though, because like sometimes you forget, you know, you sit up there, and I don't know how many times, like I can only imagine for you guys having to capture the moment as often as you do. It's rough, because there's been plenty of times where I've been up on the mountain and I've experienced something and I'm like, man, I should have recorded that. You know, there's just some things that you just still don't even get on camera, even if you are running a camera so very often. Or for me, where I'm trying to take pictures and get videos as much as possible, there's still times where I forget to pull my camera out. It's just such an amazing experience that you're just like, and then you get down the mountain, you're like, oh crap. Like, I forgot to get this or that.
So I think about filming, there is two sides. So there is one side that I really love, that it's to capture a hunt forever and you never forget about it. And actually, I think you can like experience the hunt twice, because sometimes, like with adrenaline, you shoot the animal and just there's so many things going on that it's like, I don't even know what happened. It's just like, I think the bull was there, but I'm not sure if it was there or there. Like, I don't know what happened. So to be able to watch it on video afterwards and have that story and watch it a few years back, I think that's pretty cool. But at the same time, it's also a pain. When like you lose opportunities, you have to understand that you are there because you are going to do a film. And if you lose an opportunity, it's what it is. You wouldn't be there if it wasn't because you were telling or trying to share that story, and you have to assume that. But it's also sometimes a lot of work that you don't see about filming, the batteries, backup, trying to record and explain. And some days you are feeling great and some days you are feeling sick, and you just... So there is a balance, but at the end of the day, I think when you come back, it's always worth having those memories. So
yeah, no, I definitely agree. And again, you guys do an amazing job, you and your wife, as that partnership that you've got. That's interesting to me as well, working with your spouse, having a company where you guys work together. And I want to delve into that here in a little bit, but let's get back to elk and red stag. So the fact that you mentioned the interaction piece, for those, again, that are listening that don't know why you keep saying roar, go look up a red stag and the sound that they make. Like, everyone knows an elk bugles. Well, maybe not everyone. I know there's people out there that don't know that. But for those of you that don't know an elk bugles, that's an amazing sound. The first time I heard that up in the mountains, I was like, I'm hooked. Like, I haven't even seen it yet. I'm hooked. Like, it's just awesome. But the red stag, I haven't heard one in person. but and watching enough of your videos and looking at them, they almost look like a red-headed elk and a deer had a baby. Like it's a smaller body elk that's ginger, basically. Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
what is it about red? Like, it sounds like red stag's one of your favorite. Obviously, like ibex and all these other animals, but red stag's up there for you. What is it other than the roar, or what? Maybe even the roar itself. Like, what is it that gets you going about red stag?
So I think it's very similar to elk. So they make a different noise, so it will be more like. So it's completely different than an elk, and they can be super aggressive also. But when you call, it's true that the red stag are way harder to call in than elk because the females are not as, I don't know, they're harder to call in. I don't know exactly the reason, but to really call a stag in, doesn't happen often. I don't know. Maybe it's because I see a lot of videos on America. I only hunted elk once in British Columbia and in Montana, so twice. But they feel like they are easier to call in. Red stag are harder, but I think like hearing that roar, they are so loud. Like compared to, I mean, the same as elk. They are so loud. Like when you have an animal at 30 meters and they're screaming with all their lungs and everything with that strength, like I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So like, I think that's the special part about it. And and honestly, I think in Spain they are the smartest animal to hunt. So a lot of people don't know, but in Spain the season is almost all year round. And a mature stag, it's 8 or 9 years old, and we hunt them on driven hunts. We hunt them during the summer period for crop damages. We hunt them during the roar. We hunt them all winter. So they get way more pressure because here there is a lot of population in Spain compared to America, that the seasons are really short. So to be smarter than an old stag, it's really, really hard. Like they are really spooky. And I think the challenging hunts are the best.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's interesting. I didn't realize how, they could be so skittish. Is that now? Have you ever hunted axis deer?
Yeah, I actually lived in Hawaii for a year and a half.
Okay, awesome. So compared to axis deer, because I know how skittish they are, compared to them, where would you put red stag? Are they up there with them, or a little bit less?
So I think they are different. I think the red stags are smarter. Like they think better. They think their moves. Even when they're roaring, like they actually are spooky. Like they hear a branch and they start running, or but they are not like smart. Like red stag, you are roaring, and it's like I have been chasing this stag, and he keeps roaring, and he keeps maintaining those 200 meters because he already knows that you are there. It's like how he knows, and he just keeps roaring but maintaining the safety distance in the forest. And you're like, why I have been chasing this stag for an hour and still he's still 100 meters away from me? It's because he knows you are there. He's not running away yet. He knows. So I think they are different. And sometimes you will hear a stag and suddenly it's gone, or you through the trees and they just go away without making any noise. And I think axis is more like a spooky animal, used to be hunted by predators. So when they hear noises, they jump away or they run. But it's not the same mental. Plus the fact that there is way more axis than red stags. So where we hunt red stags, you get to see a day 2 or 3 males. In Hawaii, there is axis everywhere. So you get a bunch of opportunities every day. So,
when you went to Hawaii to hunt axis, was it on Lanai?
No, so I lived there. So I hunted axis in Maui a lot, where I was living. And also, in Lanai, I didn't hunt axis, but I hunted in Molokai. And yeah.
Awesome.
So we hunted a lot, and it's a super fun animal to hunt.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And the meat is some of the best meat out there too. That axis meat is pretty awesome. And
the roar they make, that's special. That's between an elk and a roar. Yeah. Have you heard that one or not?
I'll have to look that up.
Like, "Arr,
Huh.
arr."
That's awesome.
Probably there's people that do it better. So
Yeah.
go look it up.
That's awesome. Because you don't really. So I heard deer for the first time this year. I've never heard deer before. And it was weird. And so I was just sitting there calling elk. Nothing was going. So I was, eating my snacks, whatever. And then these little baby deer had like lost their mom, I guess, because they'd run off and were chasing each other and all this stuff. They were like running all around me. And then they stopped. And then I started hearing, it sounded like a horse cow call. Like a cow was losing its voice. A cow elk was losing its voice. And I was like, it's like, what is this an elk? And then it came up like, it was like 10 yards from me making a sound. And it was just a lost baby deer trying to find his mom, and I was like, I didn't know deer made sounds. Like, I didn't know that. So going back
That
to
was
like,
mule deer or
yeah, it was
white
mule
tail?
deer. Yeah, mule deer. And I was just like, these are things that, I was able to get that on video because I was just like, what the heck? And they were just chirping away, trying to find their mom, but it's interesting. The things that, again, going back to getting outside as much as you can, you find things out that you would never have known if you hadn't gone out there and spent some time, sat down, unplugged, there's no signal. And you're just soaking it all in. You hear things, you see things. There's so many different adventures that you can go on. So going back to hunting red stag, in Spain, talk a little bit about hunting culture there, because I'm sure it's not as, I know it's a different model, obviously, than the U.S. There's not as much public land, or is there a lot of public land?
There is no public land at all.
Okay.
So there is
talk to us a little bit about that.
So there is some public territories that they have tags that are managed by the government, but it's an auction system, most of it. So those tags are sold. And the private land works similar way. So a town will have their hunting territory of the town, and the town will lease those hunting rights to people for a period of a year or 10 years, or depending on that. And the government decides how many animals you can shoot in those territories. And with those animals, the guys that own the lease can do whatever they want. They can sell them to a third party, they can hunt them themselves, they can not hunt them, but you buy every year, you lease the land to a town.
Gotcha.
So it's good in the ways that you can hunt more, like there is a lot of opportunities. The bad thing is that you need a little bit of monetary power to access to the ground. So, yeah. There is a lot of levels, and depending what you want. So everyone more or less can hunt, but the cooler trips, everything is private. And since it's such a great tourism country, we have 80 million, I think, tourists every year. So there is a lot of people coming, there is a lot of hunters coming, there is a lot of demand. And depending on the year, it's hard for people. So I think I'm jealous about the public land system that you guys have in the US, because it's I think everyone should have the opportunity to hunt one day, even if it takes you 40 years to draw the desert sheep tag in California or whatever, But at least you can apply and suddenly get an opportunity to hunt.
Oh, definitely. So
but at the same time, we can hunt a lot.
Yeah.
Which in the States, you guys are very limited on the amount of days you can hunt every year.
Yeah. Yeah, with our season dates. So with that being said, what does it generally cost for a good red stag hunt? Are they bucks, or are they bulls, or what's the male? What are the males called?
Stags. I think that's the word for a male.
Duh, I should have known that. So is it rose?
So there are no bulls, and the females are called hinds. So stags and hinds.
Okay, cool.
And roebucks, roebucks are roebucks and roe does.
Okay, Awesome. So with a red stag hunt, what would that generally run someone? Just the hunt itself, not travel and all that. If I came from the U.S., but say someone wants to go out to Spain and hunt, because everyone talks about New Zealand, going to New Zealand for red stag hunting, etc. I know some people that have gone there. Not a lot of people that I know talk about going to Spain. So, what would that
Because I
generally
think
cost?
it's a hunt that is not very commercialized internationally, because the success rate depends, like, it's a short period of time and there is a lot of risk involved. If you come for an ibex, you will end up finding ibex in 2, 3, 4 days, and you will end up shooting one. Red deer, you may come 2 days or 1 day too late and there is not a single roar, you don't see them. So it's tricky depending on the areas, especially on the mountain areas on the north, that I think that's where I like to hunt them the most, because you're hunting them on mountain terrain. And the hunts, what they cost, I think for international hunters, because you need a guide and you need like assistance and all that, I think they go for $3,500, $4,000 or something like that, probably.
In U.S. dollars or?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many options that it's hard to put a bracket, but now the euros and dollars are similar, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
but I think with that budget, you can find a place or something, or maybe at the end, it depends a lot. Here in Europe, it's very established, the trophy size. So a lot of hunts depend on how big the animal is. So it's a different culture. Like, and if you go to Germany and Romania, that there's some great European countries that you can hunt red stags, the prices depend a lot on the trophy of the animal. And then
Gotcha.
you go to $5,000, $6,000 or something like that.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. That doesn't sound nearly as bad as I was thinking it was. Because I know New Zealand, I had a buddy that went there, and I think he spent like 10 or 12,000 to go to New Zealand for a hunt. And the other thing too was he wasn't able to bring the meat back from New Zealand. There was something that happened with the meat. I think there was some infection or something on the rear leg, and so they ended up donating the meat.
I think when you travel internationally, dealing with the meat is just too complicated. It gets, I mean, like, to travel from the US to Spain, you're going to spend on a plane, depending on the part of the country, but at least more than a day. You're going to be in Madrid or whatever for a night over there with all the meat on a hotel. You need to have a freezer. So at the end, I think when I travel, I like to taste as much as I can when I'm doing the hunt. And afterwards, yes, have it, the local guys take care of it and enjoy it. At the end, it's their animal somehow. And I think we'll have enough meat at home than the expense of bringing all the meat and the risk of having it go bad. I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Especially when you travel internationally and you have a piece of meat. It's not like when you travel with an airplane inside the States. Probably you go to customs like, what the fuck is that? It's meat. And do you have a certificate? You have, like, it's not the same.
Well, when I went to Texas, even I had one of those freezer bags that I had frozen hog meat in it, and I was going through security and that flagged it. And they were like, "What do you have in here? There's rib cages, there's bones, like what?" And I was like, "It's just hog meat." Yeah, they were like, "Are you sure it's not a small child in there?" I'm like, "No, it's hog meat." But yeah, that was, oh man, that was fun. So I can only imagine going internationally, them, being like, what is this?
No, I come from Tajikistan. And what is that? I don't know. It's just a strange goat.
Oh man, that would be hilarious.
My father, back in the day, like, I don't know, like a bunch of years ago, he got stopped in customs with a polar bear, and the guy just freaked out. And he got all the papers. Now, yeah, like, now it's easier to. Now it's harder, but before, as long as you had all the paperwork, you could do the import when you got through the airport. but now it's getting harder and harder to travel with the trophies.
Polar bear. So he went.
leave them, like for 15 days or whatever, and then get them shipped, and the trophy thing is just getting way too expensive.
Yeah, but a polar bear. So he went polar bear hunting?
Yeah, but that was like a long time ago. Yeah.
Right, but that's amazing. Like you see those animals.
He has some pretty cool footage. Actually, he filmed the Inuit guy's son shooting his first ever polar bear, which made him become a real grown-up man or something like that, like in the culture.
Yeah.
And you could see like the dogs fighting the bear, and the Inuit guy pushing his son. He's like, don't be a pussy, just like keep moving forward. And the guy, the little son that was like 14, I don't know, or 12 or whatever, with a lever action rifle, he's like, I don't want to get close. And he shot it, which was super cool to watch, because my dad loved to document hunts in the past, so he has all footage from many years.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, polar bears, man. So that was your dad the one that spray painted that one polar bear? Have you seen that? There's a polar bear up there that someone spray painted. Like they went up and they spray painted like 3 letters in its side. I'm like, why would you get close enough to spray paint a polar bear? First of all, like, why would you do that?
I haven't seen that.
But no, there's some footage. It's like 614 or something like that. But yeah, they had it's like black spray paint on its side, and it's like walking around up there. And obviously that polar bear probably won't last very long because he stands out now. He won't be able to hunt as well. But yeah, that's crazy, because polar bears are one of the few predators that are known to actually hunt humans. There's not many else out there that are known to actively hunt human beings, and polar bears are one of them. So that's pretty crazy that he had that experience. With bears, did you ship yours back? Do you have a big bear rug that I'm sure your wife appreciates in the house?
Not yet. I still have it in the States. I need to figure out how to ship it.
Have you had that discussion yet?
Yeah, I want it for my son, for his room.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to.
I think, yeah, he's gonna be stuck. I mean, I bet that he doesn't have any friends with a bear hide in his room.
No.
So yes.
Did you do the mouth open? Cool. Did you do the mouth open?
No, I don't even know what I'm doing. Like I told
Okay.
Brian to just like do the rack, but I don't even know how, because it has cities, so we have to apply for the permit and ship it over. And I don't know, just Spain it's been really bad against hunting in terms of introducing animals, and they have increased a lot the taxes. So they are applying the VAT not to the value of the skull of an animal or to the trophy, but to the value of the hunt. So it's just getting ridiculous to import animals. So their analysis is that we travel all over the globe to just bring a trophy, and that we should pay the VAT of the value of the animal alive. Like it's not alive, it doesn't have meat, it's not moving. Yeah. Some of the hunts include the guiding, the service, the trip. So I think it's just stupid, but for them, they are making a lot of money, but it's making harder and harder to import trophies.
Yeah, no, for sure.
To the extent that it's like, am I willing to spend that much money on bringing a trophy, or should I go hunt more?
Exactly. And that's a good reason to get the bear rug in the house. I might have to use that, because I was thinking, like, after I go bear hunting this spring, how would I be able to have that in the house? And you just gave me a great idea. So I'll tell my wife that it was Pedro's idea to put it in my son's room.
I'm going to get in a lot of trouble after this podcast. Okay? You're putting all on me. The Spanish guy, he knows really well.
He told me to come to Spain. He said, go to Spain, hunt red stag. It's great. You're going to have a great time, babe. He said to bring the bear in the house. Like, he said all these. It's funny though that you trusted Brian to take care of your bear after what you did to his sleeping pad. So for those of you guys that haven't seen that video, you should definitely go watch the bear hunt between Ryan, and Brian Call and Pedro, because there was a lot of tomfoolery, we'll say, that happened in camp. And there was a couple of really good pranks that I'm surprised Pedro gets invited back to come hunt with Brian after. But man, that was so. How many days were you going after those bears? I can't remember the amount
10
of days
days.
that you were up there. 10 days.
10 hunting
And
days.
then
So it was
you-
a great experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of, if I remember correctly, you kind of hesitated, didn't you? Like you didn't want to shoot first, or there was something that
No,
you were.
so the way it works, I don't know. Like I'm not used to hunting with so many people with guns.
Yeah.
It was like if you spot the bear, you are first on shooting. So the thing is that I spotted the first big bear or whatever that we could shoot, and since it was the first day, I was like, I'm not shooting it.
that's right.
I don't really care if I come empty-handed or not. But like to finish the hunt without being able to appreciate what I'm shooting, I didn't come here for that. So so
That's what it
I
was.
let Brian shoot it. He shot it, and we ended up shooting mine on day 9. So it was we had to split in 2 teams because it was Brady Miller also from Go Hunt, super cool guy. He went with Ryan Lampers at the middle of the hunt. He's like, we need to split in 2 because we weren't seeing the amount of bears that they promised me. They were like, no, it's gonna be warm. There's gonna be bears everywhere. And we had snow. We were freezing our asses. But it was a super cool hunt, and I learned a lot, to be honest. So
Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, and they definitely don't go on the easy hunts. They don't go on the, come back to the truck every night kind of hunt. Like they definitely get after it. So that's really awesome.
no, and they love what they're doing. Like if you see
Yeah.
Brian documenting hunts, like self-filming sucks because you are all the time. Instead of hunting, you are trying to think about, I cannot miss this. So I love when you have a cameraman that he's taking care of the story and you can just enjoy the hunt. But to be able to self-film, put the time, go up there and all that, like to have that energy, I think he's doing honestly a great job. And it's because he really likes it. So he's not trying to show a different character on the videos than what he really is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. What would you say would be your favorite hunt out of all the ones that you've done in the many years that you've been hunting? What would be your top hunt experience? Because what I'm recognizing a theme with you is that you are all about the experience. And if people haven't understood that by now, you can go back and listen to this podcast again and see and then go and check out Pedro's stuff, because you just, again, talking about the bear hunt, you didn't want to shoot a big bear on day 1. You wanted to have the experience, and you're okay coming back empty handed because you wanted the full experience. And that seems to be a trend in your adventures. So what would you say would have topped the list for you in all the hunts that you've done? What's been one of your favorites?
So the thing about trying to experience and spending more time is something that lately, like when you go on places, like I don't want to hunt the first few days and kill an animal the first few days. And actually in some areas, it's when you have higher chances because the animal are there, you haven't spooked them, you are in top shape, because as you get more and more days in the field, you start wearing down, things can go wrong, you can hurt yourself, your bow can go bad, or the weather can come in. So on tough hunts, you shouldn't be missing out on opportunities. But at the same time, I have something inside me, like I came all the way to here just to hunt for 2 days. So I don't really want to kill an animal, but I really want to hunt. But at the end, I always end up on the later part of the hunt, like I'm running out of time, getting stressed. So there needs to be like a little bit of a balance. And that has, I don't know, like I have been on a bunch of hunts, especially with the bow, that I haven't been successful. And like in Kyrgyzstan, it's 20 hunting days. 20 hunting days, it's a lot of hunting days. So it's not like traveling and all that. So it wears you off. You are tired, like you get sick. I don't know. And some of the trips, some of the animals I have gone, in the Bessarabes, I had to go 3 times to Turkey. So the third time I was like, just, I don't know, like, and I think you like think about the animal like higher than it is. And it's like, it's really hard. And you have the mental game. You need to learn how to play that mental game of like, it's just a goat. So a lot of time when you draw back on an animal that you have put a lot of time, or it's really big, or it's just like a really interesting trophy from Asia that no one has hunted or whatever, it's like you shouldn't be thinking about the animal like up here what it is. You should draw back like it's just a goat, like and truly, because that mental thing really makes you do stupid stuff. And if I will have to choose hunts more than place, it will be mountain, a bow, and backpacking. And I think the animal and the place is not that important.
I love it. That's
and there
awesome.
is actually also some hunts in Africa that people underestimate Africa, and there is some really tough hunts in Africa and very different, like the rainforest or hunting Lorderville and on tracks, like tracking those animals for days, like on 40 degrees Celsius or like super warm weather. There are some really super cool hunts in Africa that people underestimate, because probably all the videos that you get and all the content that most people see are people driving around on a car, and that I really enjoy. So, and it's hard to pick. I like.
That's
like
awesome.
Everything.
I was going to say, I was waiting for an interesting response. I knew you wouldn't be able to nail it down to one. So I
but I think mountain, bow, and backpack. So Northwest Territories old sheep hunt that I did, one of the best trips. Mongolia, the ibex hunt in Mongolia that I did with the bow, super cool. It took me also a lot of days. And yeah, I don't know. I could keep listing hunts. All the hunts that involve that, or horses and tents, just
oh yeah,
super cool.
Just unplug and get out there and enjoy it. I love that, man. That's really awesome. And I really
photo
appreciate
is from Mongolia, for example.
Oh,
the photo in the background.
Yeah,
and you see that terrain, and you glass, and you don't see any single animal, and you're like, what the hell I'm doing here with my bow?
That's a beautiful picture. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your time today, Pedro. It's been a pleasure being able to chat with you and hear your experiences and things that you've been all over the world, and you've had so many great experiences that people can only dream of having one of. And you're just a wealth of knowledge, wealth of experience. And I highly recommend everyone go and check your stuff out. You really do. You keep it humble. You're not braggadocious by any means. And I love that about your content. I love that about how you involve your family. That's a big thing as well. You're super grateful for the people that have supported you, brought you up to where you are, and you're giving back as much as you can as well. So thank you again so much for your time. Where can people find you now that I've said to go find you?
Yeah, so Pedro Ampuero. But if you put like on YouTube Pedro hunting or something, I don't think there are many Pedros out there. So it will be the easiest, because spelling my last name is going to be hard. And now on Instagram, I shadow ban. And now I'm shadow banned on Instagram. So you need to really put my whole name with all the letters, and it's a pain. But hunting, it's what it is on social media.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Sweet. Well, I'll leave those links down below, guys. Thanks again so much, Pedro, for your time. I really appreciate it. Guys, go follow him. Check his stuff out. Great guy. And I really enjoy all the adventures. I kind of live through you in some of these adventures, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to go on some of these. But, man, you keep it up. And, again, thanks so much for your time. Guys, as I always say, get out, live your life, and love it.